today I have a standard Jund Warriors deck for you. It's a mid-range deck and I will show you each component and how the sideboard works for each and every matchup in the current metagaming. So first of all, it has 24 lands, it has 25 creatures and 11 spells. So we start things off with 4 Stomping Ground, followed by 4 Rootbound Crags, and then 4 Blood Crypts. Then we have 3 of Dragonskulk Summit, and then 1 Forest. We need the Forest because the deck is mainly in need of the greens rather than the black spells. And then we have 4 Mountains and 4 Unclaimed Territory, in which usually we name Warrior, but sometimes you can confuse your opponents with something else. Followed by the earliest drops are the Kraul Harpooner. So aside from mono blue, it doesn't have much of a target like the Krasis and the Lyra Dawnbringers and the Sky Marcher aspirants, but as an early 2-drop, it can either help stable the board, or if not, go aggro if you're playing control. Then followed by, we also have Growth Chamber Guardian. It's currently a 2-drop, but then if your opponent doesn't able to get rid of it off the board, it'll just take over on its own by adapt. Then followed by another 2-drop. So basically we have 11 2-drops. Direfleet Daredevils. You don't normally drop this on turn 2 unless you're playing mono white, because its ETB ability can serve as a 2-for-1, whether it's control, mid-range, or even aggro. It only doesn't work for mono blue and mono white. Then followed by our MVP. It's called Goblin Chainwhirler. Aside from a board sweeper, which the combo, I'll show you the combo in a while, but actually I'll show it to you now. The combo is with this ETB on the stack. While Chainwhirler is enters the battlefield, you give him this status and statue, which is a double-edged sword. If you don't have Chainwhirler in your hand, you can serve it as a removal or artifact, creature, enchantment. If the combo actually works, so ETB on the stack, your +1 damage from Chainwhirler can give death touch to each other creature on your opponent's side. So it's basically a 4-drop, 1-sided board wipe, and at the same time you'll be able to go aggro afterwards. Alongside Goblin Chainwhirler, we also have this Gruul Spellbeaker. It's actually a 4-4. If you're playing against aggro, you can drop it off as 4-4. But if you're playing against control, you need to go aggro. It's gonna be 3-3, but it still has haste and hexproof. Gives you hexproof, and it's health hexproof during your turn. Then next is we have 3 of this, the Rekindling Phoenix, which, as you can see, it's hard to remove. Aside from Excellence Binding, Vraska's Contempt, or the new removal Despark, those are the only cards that can remove this permanently. Aside from this, it's going to be a 2-for-1, especially blocking creatures. Then lastly, we also have this as the end of our casting cost. 5-drop is Skarrgan Dragonlord. It depends on you. You can drop it as a 4-4 haste or give it a +1/+1 ETB 5/5. And another good thing about it is you can also combo statue with this. So when you deal the 2 damage to 2 creatures, it has death touch, so it can kill actually 2-for-1. As for removals, aside from the statue, we have this Lava Coil. It's the only removal that's very cheap and standard, and it can actually get rid of almost everything. It works well against mid-range, fellow mid-range, Sultai, mirror matches, phoenixes, Gruul Spellbeakers. It can actually target almost everything in standard. Then we have Colossus, and Collision Colossus can serve as either a finisher, +4/+2 trample your creature, or deal 6 damage to target creature flying. Basically, all the creatures with flying right now, it can kill with just this removal. Even Doom Whisperer in hybrid cases. Then last but not least, we have this. We have Finality, just a one-off, a tech card. Basically, I use Find here to bring back the Phoenixes, the Skarrgans, and the Chainwhirlers. But if you're playing against control, it might vary. Then Finality, you don't often get to use it for Finality, but if you do, then that's actually a plus side for you. Usually use this on mirror, mid-range, and aggro. Now going to sideboard, we have 15 pieces of sideboard over here, and I'll show you each one. You have treasure map. Normally treasure map, you just use this against fellow mid-range for Sultai, for long gaming, and for control. Then we also have two of this Domri. Usually mirror matches, same as control. Only purpose with that are for those kinds of matchups. But then Warriros, since control doesn't have much removals, this can easily take over the board, and you get rid of the Kraul Harpooners on the side. Then this is for additional. This one is for additional mid-range. Usually mid-range. If you want to go aggro against fellow mid, if you're on the play, usually get to kill them with this, with the 6 damage as well, and Sultai as well. Then we have a one-off Crushing Canopy. Serves as a tech card, and you can destroy Skanta. You can also destroy Lyra against Phoenixes, Skarrgan, Crasis, Wilderness Reclamation, Experimental Frenzy, Excellence Binding, Conclave Tribunal, basically just attack. Then this one is just purposed solely for control. It's basically a 4 to cast Blightning. When you if it resolves, it's actually a pain for your opponent, because discarding 2 cards can be a headache for them, especially in the early games, like the first 5 turns. Then for aggro, we only have like a few cards, because basically against aggro we don't have any bad matchups against them, but just in case they're too fast, you have 2 Shivan Fires. You get rid of creatures, or removals. It depends. You may remove the Finality or the Lava Coil or the Colossus, depending. Then you also have this for aggro and tokens, which Fiery Cannonade is just a sweeper, additional sweeper, just in case of emergency. Basically, I've been running the deck for a month right now, and I think I've only lost once or twice because of bad draws, and those are against control. Against other matchups, I haven't been losing any, and my current record is like around 80 to 90%. So just have faith in the deck, and let me see in the comments below how the deck works out for you. I know that War is just released right now, or it's going to be released this week in the States, but for us here in the Philippines, they're going to be released just this week, but then the pre-release was delayed, so we're like 1 week behind. But then you just have to add a few cards there. I think the Vivin might work, or the Domri might work. You cut off the Kraul Harpooners like into 2. Then if you want to substitute the Domri with the sideboard, you can put one in the main deck and turn it into a card. Basically, that's just the deck itself. I think it's still viable in the current standard metagaming, so I hope it works out fine for you. Anyway, thanks to you for listening. Thanks for today.